the Institute is very much about systematically documenting how brands grow and how marketing interventions work. So this is just one of many studies that we've done that is trying to add evidence to help marketers get their strategy right.
So the findings were many and varied, and some of them were more or less contentious than others. So one finding we quite like is the positive relationship with sales that humour has. If you include humorous elements in your ads, they tended to, on average, be more effective. But then some findings, like music, for example, the few ads, and I'm talking not a large number, that didn't include music tended to be slightly more effective. But then again, we need to be careful with that finding because it's not as pervasive as humour. So we need to understand better, well, when we use music, how can we use music to make it more effective, whether that be the genre of music that we're including, or the tempo of that music, but also how it interacts with other creative devices. So if we have our music too dominant, then that means we can't have character dialogue, and character dialogue can be quite positive and quite powerful.
We're marketing scientists, and our whole reason for being as an institute are to give robust knowledge about what works and what doesn't work. And as people who look at data every day, and I've done this for over 20 years, we learn that it makes sense to be careful with certain things because certain things in data sets look strong and they look weaker the next time. So the only way we're going to advance our knowledge is if we look across many sets of data, and that's when we start to work out, well, what are the things we really can trust? And as I concluded with, there are some things in this space that we're really certain matter if you want to have advertising that sells. So light and non-brand buyers who don't care about the brand have to know who it's for. You have to get their attention so that they want to engage with the content. So there are some lessons that we're very strong on because the evidence is very clear, and there are others where we're conscious that there just needs to be a lot more work so we understand the conditions of when they hold and when they don't.
And unfortunately with this data set we couldn't actually separate out the conditions because then we were getting into too smaller samples. Not to mention this is consumer packaged goods, but what about services, banks, what about retailers? There are so many other different varied industries where these findings might not hold, so it's dangerous to overstate any finding without context.
It's a very long journey. Some of the findings in How Brands Grow have been around since the 50s. And that's where the importance of light buyers was first documented by Andrew Ehrenberg. It almost takes a generation of marketers to die out, maybe two, to get rid of some of these old ideas and for people to realise what matters. They have to test it themselves, look at their data. So we're just learning that it's a very, very slow process. But that's not uncommon when you look at the history of science. People believed the world was flat for a very long time, even though the evidence was clear to the scientists, and we just see the same thing. So we just keep trying to get this message out and slowly convert one marketer at a time to being more evidence-based. I love being here. I love marketing. I love advertising, and it's hugely exciting. But I also look at the talks and listen to people, and I see enormous opportunity for marketing to do better. And if more of us are evidence-based, then we all win because we'll get better returns for our investment. So yeah, I see huge opportunity, and it's great to be here.
And it also doesn't help if we sit in our ivory tower and judge from afar. We need to immerse ourselves as much as possible, and our research is very industry-led, so we need to be here to support our sponsors, but also know what they're interested in, possibly new trends, new technologies, so we can do better work into the future as well.
And understand the challenges, and there are many.